Hey guys, welcome back to Lap 1 News, and today we're going to be reviewing the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now, Max Verstappen is the world champion. He went into this race in the lead of the championship, level on points but in the lead on amount of wins, and he won this race and he's won the championship. He is a well-deserving champion. Congratulations. It's been one of the up there with one of the best drivers of the season. His team have been incredible on the track, a little bit questionable off the track, but on track they've been an unstoppable force for a lot of the season, and Verstappen is a well-deserved champion. But let's get into the race. So Verstappen started on pole with Lewis Hamilton alongside. Max starting on the softer tyre. You expected Max to get a much better getaway than Lewis, but in fact it was Lewis that got the better getaway and he overtook him, and he was ahead going into the first back straight. Now that was interesting, not least because he was on that harder tyre. Lewis just controlled the race from there. He just started to pull away. He kept the gap to about 6 seconds before the first pit stops, and it was just, Lewis looked in the bag for that championship and for the race. And on a different day, he would have got it. We'd be talking about an 8-time world champion now rather than first Dutch ever Formula One world champion. So, a few incidents in that race. The race was mainly focused on the top two, understandably, so we didn't really see what was going on at the back. I think there was a few jockeying for positions, and Norris was doing quite well. Bottas was doing quite poorly. I think that got masked by the safety car, and by the virtual safety car, which we'll get onto in a minute. I think he wasn't doing great, but Mercedes were still in the position to win the Constructors' Championship at that point. Then Kimi, in his final race of the season, had a brake issue. Terrible timing. He also had issues in his final race for Ferrari. I don't know, maybe in both races he just wanted to, finish sooner, get it over and done with, get out of the race so that he could hang his boots up. I don't know. I don't think so, really, but it's certainly an interesting to look at. That nearly caused a safety car, or a virtual safety car, and I thought it was going to, but he was able to limp home and get back to the pits to retire, so all was fine there. Lewis was still in the lead, Max was still a few seconds behind him. It all looked good for Lewis. Then Giovinazzi retired and there was a virtual safety car, and I think Lewis didn't pit during that. I think Verstappen did pit, but he was a long way back. By this point he was about 17 seconds around that behind, and he had only a few laps to get it with. And he started off on the pace and you thought, there's a good chance he's going to do this, Max. But in the end, Lewis's pace and Verstappen's pace, it wasn't right for Verstappen, and he didn't catch up in the end. Well, he wouldn't have done until Latifi. Now Latifi, battling with Schumacher for the bottom places, he's basically, I think Latifi gets on the marbles a bit. I think he's not got enough grip, and he just crashes the car in the sector 3, and this causes a safety car. Safety car's called out, and it was a bit of a farce from there. I tried to stop myself from swearing then, can you tell? Yeah, the way that was handled was appalling, really. It was what the hardest thing to understand is I don't think Massey broke any of the rules. I think he just exploited a gap in the rules. So let me just briefly explain. I mean, you should all be aware by now, but Latifi crashed, brought out the safety car. Hamilton couldn't pit because he would have lost position to Verstappen, and track position was more important for the Mercedes team at that point. Now, Verstappen did pit. He pit for softs, and he had nothing to lose. Now, Massey originally says that lapped cars, because there are a few lapped cars now between Hamilton and Verstappen with only 2 laps left, Massey decides that he's not going to let lapped cars overtake. So, in effect, Verstappen would have to unlap himself, or no, not unlap himself, he would have to lap these few cars before he can get to Hamilton. And with a 1-lap shootout, that just would not have been possible. Hamilton would have, easily won from there, I would think. But then he changes his mind, Michael Massey, and decides to let only some of the cars through. Some. And that is the key, I think, that allowed Massey to do this. And it shouldn't have been, this gap in the rules shouldn't have been there. But I think that is what allowed Massey to do this. He let some of the cars through, so that basically Max and Lewis were right next to each other now, and a last lap shootout took place, and Verstappen dived bomb into the hairpin and, took the lead, won his first championship from there. The rest is history. Now, what do I mean by there's a gap in the rules? Basically, from my understanding, it doesn't say what happens if the race director only allows some of the cars to unlap themselves. What it says in the rules is if the race director says lapped cars may now overtake, then all lapped cars must overtake the safety car, and there must be another lap before they can, before the safety car can come in. So if that were to happen, there would not have been a final lap. The rules state it just wouldn't have happened. So what Massey does, and this isn't covered by the rules because it doesn't say you have to let all cars, or you have to say lapped cars may now overtake. He only lets some of them overtake. And it basically means he can do whatever he likes because it's not covered by the rules. It's a massive grey area. It's a gap. It shouldn't exist, but it does, and Massey used it to get entertainment on the final lap, and I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think it's okay. But at the end of the day, that's what he's done. It's happened. We can't change it. We can't change what's passed, so we've just got to accept that that is what's happened. Max does deserve the championship, so did Lewis. Both of them deserved it. But Max is the champion, and it's almost certainly going to stay that way. And I'm going to say congratulations because he does really deserve it. He has been very fast this year, and he's just been on it almost the entire race, or almost the entire season. So congratulations, Max Verstappen. So that's going to be it for this video. Just a brief update on what's going to be happening on the channel over the next few days. My season review is going to come in the form of 10 separate videos for each team. Upload 2 a day, so just keep an eye out for those. And it'll be done in Constructors' Championship order. So for Mercedes and Red Bull, stick around on this channel for, because they'll be uploaded soon. In the next couple of hours, I would expect. So stick around for that. As always, follow me on Twitter at @1news1. Coverage of Extreme. I can't get many videos on that, unfortunately, but I will be covering it with the pit crew online. So if you want to see quality reports, race reports and previews, that's where you can find them, on my Twitter at Lap1News1. But anyway, guys, this is going to be it. Thank you for joining me. It's been John Whitaker from Lap1 News, and I might see you next time.